All right, good morning. It is 11:29. This is the Georgia WeatherNet 24/7. I'm meteorologist KJ Allen. We do have an active tornado warning that has just been issued by the National Weather Service office out of Tallahassee. The National Weather Service issued a tornado warning for central Lowndes County and southeastern Brooks County until noon. Doppler radar indicating a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado about 7 miles southeast of Quitman, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So this is radar indicated rotation, and Valdosta is in the warning polygon. So here you go. Let's take a look at the current velocity tool just to get an idea of where this, that's a good couplet right there. Really just crossing the state line, across Highway 333. This is just inside of Brooks County, just the very, very bottom edge of Brooks County, extreme corner there, and about to move into Lowndes County here in just the next couple of minutes. And then that will continue to move toward Valdosta if it holds together. So this is a potentially dangerous storm. It is moving to the northeast around 45 miles per hour. We do have a strong wind gust. Even if this does not drop a tornado, we are looking at some very strong wind in this as well. Possibility of 60-mile-an-hour plus wind gusts, so damage to rooftops and other more unsubstantial, lighter buildings, we'll call it that, is possible. This is also going to be moving toward Interstate 75 around exit 16. And should be there at around 11:45, so 15 minutes from right now. And then if it holds together in Valdosta by 11:50. All right, so if you know anyone in this part of South Georgia, really moving out of Brooks County, I know that Brooks County is in the warning polygon, but Quitman is not going to be involved in this. This is going to be moving out of Brooks and then moving into southern Lowndes County and moving in toward Valdosta. So this is a dangerous situation for Valdosta. The Kinderloo community will be moving above Clyattville and then continuing to move there toward I-75 around the exit 22. And we'll also be moving in toward the Valdosta Airport. That, again, just there on the south side of the city. So that is going to be in the target area as well. Let's flip over and look at the velocity tool. On this is not looking as menacing, I guess you'd say. It is right here on the county line between Brooks and Lowndes County. Our other radar site that we looked at did show a little bit more rotation there, so this could be thinning out a little bit, but I don't know. For right now, we still have that kink in the storm. I'll flip back over to this radar here and just kind of give you one of the things that I'm looking at as far as the strength. Right here, this is where you have this inflow. So when you have the storm that kind of gets this kink, this is whenever you can really start to see some significant problems. And as I mentioned, we look at the base velocity. That gives us the idea of the wind coming from or going away from the radar and heading toward the radar. And that's where we see it right here, which is right over the county line between Brooks and Lowndes County. So this storm may have a little bit more to go as far as strengthening is concerned. It could fan out. Really don't know. These storms have been holding together for about 10 or 15 minutes on average. Some a little bit less than that, and then some have been holding together a little bit longer, especially up in the northern part of the state and then moving into South Carolina. But these here in South Georgia, a lifespan of about 10, 15 minutes or so. And if that's the case, that is going to put it up toward I-75. And then if it continues beyond that time frame, we'll be moving into Valdosta. So let everyone you know in Valdosta, they need to be in their tornado-safe place right now, lowest level, most interior room, away from doors and windows. You don't have to go into a basement or anything of that nature. If you have that option, that's great. But the main thing is to be on that lowest level and away from the doors and windows. And if you know anyone that's in a mobile home, manufactured home, they got to get out, got to seek substantial shelter, and there is plenty of time in Valdosta. All right, so we're looking at least. Actually, let me take a look at it. I got another storm tool here I can look at. We'll look at it together. So we'll put the storm motion, and we'll mark it right here. Actually, let's go look at the velocity, and this is where our best couplet's going to be. So we'll put the track on it. So Valdosta, about 15 minutes, all right? I-75, about 10 minutes from right now, that storm will be moving toward the interstate, and then Valdosta, 15 minutes. So I know that's not a lot of time, but hopefully just enough time to be able to get get folks in a safe place if you're not there already. Now, the other side of Valdosta, get up toward the bypass, still going to be looking at about 20 minutes or so away, and then continuing to track, if it holds together, along 221, possibly up toward northeast Lowndes County, toward Lanier County. But a little ways to go before that. We only have really the central part and the southwestern corner of Lowndes County in the tornado warning polygon. If that has to be extended to cover more of Lowndes County and up into Lanier County, and of course we'll let you know about that if that's warranted from the National Weather Service. So just kind of going through to see if we have any other information on this. We don't at this time. We're just going to kind of ride this one through. And again, this is a menacing storm. A lot of these storms have been coming up from Florida, have really been packing a punch, and we've had a couple of tornado warnings so far that we've talked about this morning, and this one is not a surprise, really taking on that shape where you get that kink in the storm. It allows the inflow, and this is really an unobstructed storm as well. So we'll take a look at the other radar, and I'll kind of tell you what I'm talking about and walk you through that and zoom out a bit. Down to the south and to the east of this, we don't have a lot of other storms competing for the energy here. So this is allowed to get that warm, humid air to filter in, give the storm some strength, and that's what's going to help keep it fueled for a while anyway. So we do have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect as well, and that does reach up into Lanier County, also portions of Cook County, the southern half of Cook County, and southern Berrien County. As I mentioned, Lanier County is in there as well, and then all of Lowndes County, Brooks County with the severe thunderstorm warning, and that's the yellow polygon. That's in effect until noon, but our main concern is going to be the red box, which is the tornado warning that is in effect for portions of Brooks County, which Brooks County, you're in the clear right now. We have the bulk of that storm is completely now in Lowndes County. Only spent a minute or two in Brooks County, just kind of carved across that small portion there in the southern end. And so there's another sweep that we have of radar. Let's take a look at the velocity. All right, showing the rotation broadening out some more. So that's good news. Again, 10 minutes, 15 minutes has really been the average on these storms, at least the spin part. The actual energy of the storm, they're lasting hours and traveling all across the state. So we're not going to see the rain dissipate by any means. This is going to hold together, and we're going to have at least strong straight line winds heading into Valdosta, which is probably already occurring right now, and then the heavy rain will follow behind that. Let's put the latest track on it just to get the timing. So should be crossing I-75 right around the airport area, exit 16 of I-75 in the next 5 minutes, and then continuing into Valdosta in about, looks like about 10 to 12 minutes before reaching there. So once we get to about 11:50, and that was the timing that we had originally, it should be in Valdosta at 11:50, and then continuing northeast, possibly holding together. If it does, we'll see the extension of this warning. But otherwise, I'm seeing the rotation thin out a tremendous amount. So the rotation is very broad, and it's almost non-existent at this point. So it's possible we'll get this warning canceled a little bit early, or they may go ahead and ride this out until noon. Got 22 minutes to go on that just for safety. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea, just given the fact that we have some pretty good population there in Valdosta. Of course, Valdosta State under the tornado warning as well. And better be safe than sorry. And what Tallahassee's been doing, and which is where this warning came from, they've been watching the rotation completely broaden out, go away, and then still give it a couple of extra scans to make sure that it doesn't come back. So if they do that on this, I think that would be a wise thing. So we'll likely hold on to this warning for a little bit longer, maybe not all the way until noon, but we're going to hang on here for at least a little bit and keep it live here on the Georgia Weather Net as long as this threat is on radar. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on around the state and flip over to the other radar that we have. We have multiple things going on in here in the studio, which is great. We do have another tornado warning. All right, this is going to be for moving out into South Carolina. And I'll tell you what, let's grab Charleston radar so we can get a little better view of this one. So this is going to be in northern Effingham County, and then moving across the state line. So we're not really going to hold on to this very long, just because that is moving out of Georgia into South Carolina. But I'll pull up the text on that, and just to share with you what's going on, because technically this is in Georgia, Effingham County, the extreme northeast corner. So Doppler radar indicating that severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is near the Garnett community, moving east at 45 miles per hour. So that's a fast-moving storm, and it's going to be out of Georgia in just the next minute or so. But if you know anyone in the Hampton County or Jasper County, South Carolina, let them know that the storm is on the way, and they should tune to the Charleston TV stations to get the information on that. So that tornado warning in effect until noon as well, just for the extreme northeast portion of Effingham County. Let's take a look at the velocity on that, and I'm not showing any rotation inside the state of Georgia. So we're going to leave that one alone and then go back down to South Georgia. This is the big picture where we can see that Boeing line of thunderstorms continuing to push toward the coastline, now heading toward the I-95 corridor right on time. The forecast models are just incredibly accurate with this storm system, and that's been keeping us aware as we've been going through the overnight hours and then into this morning as well. So, yeah, it's a pretty wicked line there that's continuing to move through South Georgia, and we do have that tornado warning in effect for Lowndes County. Technically portions of Brooks County, but Brooks in the clear. But Lowndes County, including Valdosta, still under the tornado warning. And we'll flip back and take a look at our velocity tool. And just to give you a sense of what we're looking at here. So getting into, if there's going to be any rotation at all, it's going to be south of Kinderloo. It's going to be right here in the middle of the warning polygon area, but it's very, very broad. But the rain is very heavy, and maybe, let's see if we have any hail. Well, we may have some hail here in eastern Brooks County, possibility of half-inch size hail, and we have a little bit more of the hail indicator popping up into western Lowndes County as well. And you can see the warning polygon has been trimmed back a bit now to officially knock Brooks out of there, which is great, but Lowndes County still going to be holding on to the tornado warning until noon. And as I mentioned, the Weather Service out of Tallahassee, they've been very, very careful about not pulling the plug on these warnings too soon, letting the rotation completely dissipate and then give it just a couple more minutes after that just to make sure it doesn't come back. So what the Weather Service is saying is that the storm again, has moved out of Brooks County, so no longer a threat, but still a threat in Lowndes County, including Valdosta. So this is starting to approach I-75 now. It's going to be blinding rain over Interstate 75 at this point. Certainly hope that everyone that's traveling in that part of the interstate is pulling off and somewhere and at least letting this pass. And then hail is going to be a concern north of US 84 up I-75. Starting to head in over the interstate right now, up around where Highway 41, the exit there with I-75, the possibility of some hail as well. Let's take a look at our velocity tool. Again, very broad, not a major concern, so I don't see any indicator that we have a tornado on the ground. And we'll also take a look at the debris tool and see if we had anything when it moved out of Brooks County. And no, I don't see anything there that would be an indicator of a tornado that actually made contact and lifted up any debris. So that will be certainly good if we can get through another one of these warned storms without an actual tornado. So there it is, another view from our radar. We have the severe thunderstorm warning overlaying the tornado warning. So even if we don't see a tornado, we are experiencing heavy rainfall, hail, and strong straight-line winds with this storm system. And we'll take a look at our current tornado watch area. So we can see a lot of those counties have been trimmed away from the tornado watch. Now it's mainly along coastal Georgia, still in Statesboro, up into Claxton and Candler County, Metter, along the coastline down to St. Mary's and Kingsland, Brunswick in the tornado watch. That's in effect until 2 o'clock this afternoon. And once this line moves through, I think we'll see some of these counties west of Valdosta and out toward Tifton and Cordele and that area probably will get dropped as well. But as for right now, this is what we have in terms of the tornado watch. We have the flood watch. That's the lighter shade of green covering metro Atlanta, Gainesville, Athens. It's just a substantial amount of rain that fell there this morning, and that's still a big concern. And then the flood warning in effect for several rivers around Rome and Floyd County, also some rivers in Bartow County around Kingston. So that is where we're seeing some flooding up there as well. So let's go ahead and go back to our radar view of the Valdosta radar. We have the radar that's right there nearby, so it gives us a great view into the storm until the storm actually passes over the radar site, and it's still got a little ways to go for that. The Valdosta radar site is actually in extreme south Lanier County, but if that gets covered up by the rain, we start to get a little bit of interference from that. But for right now, this is as good of a view as we can get of this storm. And just going back to the velocity, not showing any significant rotation. Let me look at some of the upper levels. Yeah, so we have more rotation in the upper levels between Clyattville and Kinderloo, but down at the surface, not showing anything of great alarm other than the heavy rain. And that is crossing I-75 right now, continuing to move pretty much right along US 84, and then moving in toward Valdosta. Right now getting that inflow. Still a very pronounced inflow notch right here. This is where the air enters the storm, fuels the storm, and then we get the updrafts and we get the possibility of the hail. And then if we were going to see a tornado, it would be nearing I-75 right now, just to the east-southeast of Kinderloo, but not seeing that as a major factor right now. So that's good. Hopefully we'll keep it that way. We're just going to stay with you right here and continue to monitor what we have coming in from the Weather Service. So some good news, the tornado watch for Bullock, Candler, Evans, Jenkins, Screven, and Tattnall counties, that's all around the Statesboro area, has been canceled. So that's been dropped a little early. That was set to go until 2 o'clock. But now the Statesboro area, you're out of the tornado watch. And looks like that storm that could have produced the tornado around Statesboro that ended up moving into Effingham County, that moved out of the state. And I don't believe that one dropped a tornado, but we'll keep watching for any storm reports on anything that could have happened there in Effingham County and up towards Screven County. But the tornado watch, again, for the Statesboro area has been canceled, and we still have the tornado watch along coastal Georgia from Savannah all the way down to Kingsland and St. Mary's. And so could see just a couple more of those storms spinning up before it's all said and done. And the modeling indicates that we're going to get all these storms out of here by about 2 or 3 o'clock. It'll be out to sea, but maybe another line that could develop on the backside. Typically, those thunderstorm lines are not anywhere near as fierce as the main line that moves through. There's still just a little bit of residual energy in the atmosphere, and we see a few storms that could pop up. So that could happen late this afternoon into the early evening hours, but I believe our severe weather risk is going to be very low, and obviously the Weather Service, by canceling the watch, the tornado watch around the Statesboro area, they believe that secondary line, that kind of that shadow line, is not going to be a big concern as well. All right. Still holding on to this tornado warning. This is for Lowndes County, central Lowndes County, including Valdosta, Valdosta State, the airport, all in line for this strong thunderstorm that is or severe thunderstorm that's capable of producing a tornado. Still not showing any significant scary rotation with this line, but if it's going to occur, it's going to be very close to Valdosta, so it's going to have to happen pretty quick. Otherwise, this storm is going to fly right past Valdosta, and the main concern is going to be the heavy rain, possibility of some hail, and the strong straight-line winds. And all that can cause just as much damage as a tornado. And actually receiving a report coming in from Thomas County around Thomasville, so South Georgia, one tree down along Highway 3 and Old Cassidy Road. And so just zoom out and kind of show you where we're talking about here. There's Thomas County, there's Thomasville. This came in just to the northwest of Thomasville itself. So that was probably a result of straight line winds. I didn't see really any indicators that we had a tornado in that area. So straight line winds, again, can pull those trees down, power lines, can do quite a bit of destruction. So this is just west of where we're looking at right now with that storm report that came in. Do have a pretty good indicator that we had some tornadic damage earlier this morning up west of Metro Atlanta up in Heard County. And we'll find out over the next day or so once the National Weather Service has an opportunity to go survey the damage if that was indeed a tornado. And I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that was an EF0 or EF1 tornado. Trees down, power lines down, and also a mobile home that was destroyed with that particular storm there. Could have been an EF2. Typically, with manufactured homes, really any tornado can be can destroy the home. That's why we always say you can't be in automobiles, you can't be in manufactured homes, or whatever you want to call them, modular homes. You got to be in a site-built building, and we hope that everyone in Lowndes County now, Valdosta, you are in a solid structure, site-built, business or home, lowest level, most interior room, away from doors and windows, and you do that, and you're going to increase your chances of walking away from the storm tremendously. We also talk about having protection for your head, a football helmet or a baseball helmet. I know that sounds goofy to be hunkered down in a small bathroom or a closet with your kid's football helmet on. Make sure they have it on first, and then you take a spare one. But that can make a tremendous amount of difference as well. And having hard-soled shoes on, especially with these storms that happen through the overnight hours like we had last night. If so many injuries occur when people are leaving their house, if it's been damaged or partially destroyed in some cases, and they're walking out and they end up stepping on glass and metal, and that can cause a lot of damage as well. So those are just a few things just to keep in mind, just to have nearby when we have these days where we know that the storms are going to be severe. And we've been talking about this for a couple of days here on the Georgia Weather Net. And for those of you that follow the Facebook page and subscribe to the YouTube channel, you've known about this for several days that it was coming. And the models that we looked at yesterday and this morning have been spot on. So it's been very, very helpful to get the word out ahead of time so people can prepare. And then when we get the warning, then you take that football helmet or baseball helmet and you're ready to go, and you know what room you're going to go to and all that good stuff. And I also, suggest anytime we get these tornado watches that are issued, you just reach out to anybody that you know that lives in a manufactured home and say, hey, why don't you come bunk up with us for a day or two, You don't have to stay here all week, but maybe stay here overnight, and you can just make the world a difference when you do those kind of acts of kindness. So here we go. Tornado warning remains in effect until noon. This is for Lowndes County. And I'm just keeping an eye on what's going on at the Weather Service, and no real talk about canceling this soon. Probably no reason to. We got 8 minutes to go, but the good news is I'm not really seeing any significant rotation. So I think what we had as it moved through Brooks County right toward the Lowndes County line, that rotation that was there has broadened out, and it looks like it's not coming back. But we are going to be experiencing the heavy rainfall, strong straight line winds, and possibility of hail. Let's take a look at our hail markers on here again. And this is probably going to update, or maybe this is what we got. So, yeah, it looks like the potential for some hail right now, mainly west of I-75, but I think that holds together and will probably drop. We could see some dime size, maybe quarter size hail at the most extreme with this system as it moves through. If you get something greater than that, post the pictures on the Facebook page. We'd love to see it. If it's safe to do so. Obviously, when the storm is passing over you, just hunker down and stay safe, and then you can go get pictures afterwards. The storm damage will be there for you, and you can safely monitor that and do your assessments after the storm has passed. So I'll tell you what, let's zoom out. We'll go ahead and take a look at the big picture across the state just to give you an idea of what is going on around the state of Georgia at this hour. Coming up on the noon hour, and let me turn off this radar so we can see the extent of the squall line. It's passed through Statesboro, now moving up around Springfield and Effingham County toward Rincon, and we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that is in part of Effingham County, just to the northeast of Springfield, it looks like. So that is moving in to South Carolina. Not going to be a threat anymore once that moves out of here, but we are looking at the rest of that squall line producing some gusty winds now starting to move into Chatham County, and Savannah will be experiencing that. Hinesville, Liberty County, looking at some strong straight line winds as well. So This is this bow that I'm looking at right here. When you have the storm bowing out like that, it's going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to increase the straight line winds, and number two, it's going to make the storm move a little bit faster. It's just got a little bit more speed behind it, and that's why these storms, if there's any complaint at all about the models, it's that the storms outran the models by about a half hour to an hour. But other than that, they've been very, very close. But when you get those storms that start pushing through and moving at 50 miles per hour, remember, they don't stop at traffic lights and stop signs, so it's not like you driving 50 miles per hour. These things just move at a really, really good clip, and that brings those straight line winds. In a lot of cases, if we don't have all this rain back on the backside, we don't have a flooding issue when it comes to the fast-moving storms, but that's not going to be the case here. We're still going to be experiencing a lot of rain, moderate to heavy rain, on the backside of the main line, and then it's been raining all night last night and this morning up in North Georgia. That dumps into the creeks and into the rivers, which end up in South Georgia. So we're going to be experiencing some flooding over our rivers all the way through South Georgia over the next couple of days. So this is still a very strong line of thunderstorms here, moving through South Georgia, moving out of Thomas County, Brooks County, and then obviously our tornado warning that is in effect for Lowndes County, which does include the city of Valdosta, Valdosta State, and the brunt of the storm looks like it's going to be really heading right toward the Valdosta Airport as it continues to move in from the south, heading northeast. And if it holds together, we'll be moving up toward Naylor, possibly skirting just south of Lakeland and Lanier County, and then moving up toward Stockton near the radar site, actually. If it continues on this current path, which it should, and if it holds its intensity together, and that's what's questionable. So just taking another look at the velocity tool, nothing really sticking out here. But the Weather Service, we're going to hold on another 4 minutes. I doubt they're going to call it quits with just 4 minutes to go on this particular storm. And just a reminder, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that overlays this tornado warning. So that does cover Valdosta and does get all the way up into Lakeland and Stockton. So we do have that to be concerned with. And we have another warning here. This is going to be for Eccles County and then stretching down into Florida, into Suwannee and Hamilton County. But to Eccles County, severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 12:15. As a result of that line of thunderstorms that we're looking at there, moving east at around 40 miles per hour. So there is the possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And as I mentioned, the best hail we're probably going to get out of these storms will be about quarter-size hail. You may see something a little smaller than that if you look close enough, but mostly it's going to be the heavy rain, blinding rain, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust that pretty much everybody in Eccles County will be experiencing here over the next 30 minutes or so. So just be prepared for that. Let's take a look and see if we have any rotation to be concerned with there in that system there moving through Madison County, Florida. It doesn't look like it. So just the straight line winds and heavy rain. But this is really a big thunderstorm right here. My goodness, this one is still holding together. Rotation is not a big concern at the moment. So I think they're going to allow this tornado warning. Look at that. They did call it quits a little early. I didn't think they would, but they did. So the Weather Service expiring the tornado warning for Lowndes County. The rotation has diminished and is held off for several scans. So no tornado warning anymore for Lowndes County. That's good, but the severe thunderstorm warning remains intact. And we're going to continue to watch this line now, moving in to South Georgia as it moves toward Eccles County. So just want you to be ready to go in Statenville, and then in the Clinch County, Homerville, over the swamp in the southern Ware County, Charlton County. The line is going to continue to move that way. Up toward the north, we're seeing the line begin to lose some momentum and spread out just a bit, but it's going to be the southern end of this squall line that we're going to keep a close eye on over the next few hours, and keep it right here and join you again live if necessary here on the Georgia Weather Net. And just be sure to subscribe to the YouTube page so you can get these updates as soon as they go out, and also follow the Georgia Weather Net on